guys, my name's Elise and I'm a Girl Scout. I'm a rising senior and I'm here to show you how to make a super cool headband. Here's my friend Vivian and she's gonna help me with this wonderful process. So let's start with our materials. Ruler, fabric marker, some string, some hair ties, and some fabric. Oh, don't forget the scissors too. Fabric scissors. Okay, so for the fabric I can use, well, I will be using some old t-shirts that I have, and I'm also using some fabric that I got at Hobby Lobby's, a craft store near me, and you can get this anywhere from $2 to $8 a yard. This one was about $2 because I looked in the sales section. I highly suggest.
That's cool though, you can upcycle your clothes, wow.
Yeah, definitely. So I
cool.
have an old t-shirt that I got from track, and I actually got this one from a Girl Scout camp. So what goes around comes around. Okay, so first, let me show you some that we made. We have some, here are 3-stranded ones, the ones I'm gonna show you how to make today. Yeah, well that's actually a 5-strand one.
Okay.
So that one's a little more intricate, and I will definitely show you guys how to make that one soon. So for the 3-strand, the one we're gonna be focusing on today, let's see. Here's another one. You can see here that it's a simple 3-strand braid. Not easy, but it is simple because there's not too much going into it. So let's start with measuring Vivian's head because she's gonna have this headband at the end.
Thank you.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the circumference of her head. Math, people, it comes in handy. So I'm gonna measure, just like how a normal headband would sit, I'm gonna go, whoops, right here and go down through the nape of her neck. So let's go, let's see, about here they connect. Okay, perfect. So now let's measure this. That's where my ruler comes in handy. Mind you, if you have one of those measurers that they use a lot for fashion, like to measure around your waist or something, those work too, but if you got a string and a ruler, make do with what you have, right? Okay, so here we go. This is 12 inches here, and now here we go. So she's about 22 inches, okay? And that's for the circumference of her head. For this braid, I find that it actually works best when you just take the circumference of your head and that's how long each strip of fabric's gonna be. You don't need to do anything too fancy like with the 5-strand where you have to add inches, but here it's just the circumference of your head. So let's start by taking the fabric. Here is a pretty blue fabric that I got. Mind you, the fabric, whether it's a t-shirt or something I bought at the store, it's gonna be a cotton knit. So it has to be stretchy because you wanna make sure that when you're cutting it, first off, you wanna make sure that you're cutting it lengthwise, and that's when the fabric tends to stretch more, because that's how, when you first make fabric, depending on how the thread is laid out, will depend on what direction you pull it and what makes it stretchy.
So more elasticity will be better.
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely, because when you're putting it around your head, it's good to be a little stretchy and malleable, you know? Okay, so what we're gonna do is here, look at how much that stretches, whereas if I go here, just a little tug. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is measure. We're gonna take a ruler, and this one's about 1 inch across. So I'm just gonna lay that down and put a mark.
Here you go.
Yes, thank you. And put a mark on the opposite side. So more or less. Okay. Yeah, I'm just making it so that it's 1 inch wide. So now, okay, so we're gonna measure to 22, right? That was your head?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So
you don't need any other space or anything added on to the 22?
No, it's just the 22.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna go, I'm just gonna make a little line across. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is just cut this strip. Mind you, we're gonna have 3 strips, so we're gonna be doing this 3 times. And you wanna make sure you can use fabric scissors because it helps make it less ragged, the edges.
We don't need this anymore, right?
No, we are golden.
Sounds good.
Haha, gold award golden. Okay. Okay, so now with the t-shirt. I find that with t-shirts, it helps when you lay it out and you just cut across the bottom, because rather than trying to measure exactly, because it's going to be 2 layers, obviously. You have a shirt, covers the front and the back. So you want to make sure that when you cut it, rather than trying to only get one side of the fabric to loop all the way around, you're just going to cut straight across, because then we're going to make another cut, because it's going to look like a circle, right? And if you make another cut, it's just going to turn into one strand, and that's ideally what we want to work with, because it's easier to cut that way. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move this over, and so we're going to remember 22 inches, about 1 inch wide. So let's go here. This is, make a little mark here. But again, because this is a t-shirt, I'm more focused on the width rather than
The length?
the length.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm just going to make a little mark for me, because it's going to be way longer. And what I like to do is, again, I like to use t-shirts because I can upcycle them, but I also like to use t-shirts because a lot of times when I cut them this way, I have extra fabric, which works perfect for the rag rug, which is ever growing. So I'm just going to cut straight across, like this. Satisfying to hear it. Okay, so now would you be willing to cut this? See, it's gonna be in a circle, see? But that's no good. How am I supposed to braid this? Well, if I cut just a straight line across.
Okay.
And we're open for business. All right, so I cut a straight line across, and it's longer now, and now it's easy for Vivian to measure 22 inches.
Oh, that's
It's
nice.
already-
Okay, that's cool, because you can just open it up and then even
Yeah.
if it's longer, that's nice.
Yeah, and then like I said, for the rag rug, we're golden.
Okay, so 22, right?
Yes.
Okay. Right there?
Yes. Okay.
Alright, so just cut across.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So again, for the rug, to be continued. Okay. Perfect. So now 3-strand braid. We need 3 strands.
Oh.
We've got 2. Let's get
One.
another. So I have my hair ties here, and the next step is, after Vivian cuts this for me, what we're going to be doing is we're going to tie, we only need 1, and we're going to tie the ends of each strand and put it onto this. And what's good about the fabric marker is that it's not the fabric marker that you use to permanently stain your clothing. This one is actually really nice because it can just come off with a little bit of water, or if you put it in the wash. Because I know my mom, she likes to sew a lot, and she likes to sew like shirts. And what sometimes she'll do is she'll draw on the fabric in order to measure it, right? And then she'll just put it in the wash, and bam, the markings are gone.
So how does this start? Like,
okay, so like I said before, we're gonna tie a knot with the fabric onto its home base here, which is just the hair tie. And a thinner hair tie works best. So what I'm gonna do is take the fabric in one hand and then just tie it around. Let's see.
a regular knot?
Yeah, so like you create a little, like, you know, a ribbon, you see, then you go through and just pull. So I like to have the least amount of fabric on the end as possible. So what I do is I like to shimmy the knot up, and I pull it. And it looks like that. And you want to do that 2 more times, so you have 3 in total.
Okay.
So can you help me with that?
Yeah, gladly.
And I find that these headbands are awesome for anything to, like, if you do sports, they're great because they just keep my hair out of my face. I know I run, well, actually I pole vault, and you want your hair out of your face. You play soccer, right?
Yeah.
So I can imagine you want your hair out of your face when you're making those
definitely.
goals or defending. Okay, so what I like to do is now take some duct tape, handy duct tape, and just tape the hair tie down. You can use your foot, your textbooks. All right, so what I like to do is just do a normal 3-strand braid. If you want me to go more in depth, feel free to check out one of my other videos, and that'll go more in depth. Probably my rag rug tutorial for just how to do a simple braid. So what we're gonna do is we're going to go leftmost strand over, rightmost strand over. So what I like to do is now tug it a little bit, leftmost over, give it a little tug, rightmost over. Or if you have a special event coming up, like a fundraiser, I know October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and maybe if you're for a sports team like soccer, Vivian, what you can do is you can have a bunch of girls over, you can all make ones with pink, and there you go, you're representing a good cause, keeping your hair out of your face, and making goals.
Oh, shoot. What happens if it's too loose?
Okay, so what you do is if it's too loose, like in between each stitch, a stitch is when you just go over and over, it's a stitch. So if it's too loose, as you can see, there's a little bit of difference here, whereas this one's tighter and there's more distance between each stitch. See here? So what I like to do is if you just undo it a little bit, no worries. So then you just tug it a little tighter. So I like to go over. Now I go over, but not only do I just go over, but I tug it a little bit. Not too much, because if you tug it too much, the fabric can curl or it can stretch, maybe even rip, depending on how strong you are. So then I like to really, when I braid it, I hold it really close. I choke up on it a lot because I want to make sure I have ultimate control. Whereas if I'm back here and I'm like, woo, you know, it's going to be really loose. So I guess the secret to that would be choke up on it a little more. So
how far do you go?
I would keep going. You can, if you think that it's getting really long in comparison to your head, you can just take the duct tape off and measure it across. I think she can go a little bit more. And that way, I mean, you can always undo a few stitches if it's too long. But you want to leave a little bit at the end because you want to make sure you can tie a knot because it has to ultimately come back into a circle. Don't worry, practice makes perfect. No one becomes great at anything on the first
And you
try.
can always take it apart, which is nice.
True. And if you upcycle old t-shirts, you're not losing money. Okay, so what I like to do is just now do another knot. Let's see.
Just the same as the beginning?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. So if it's too small for you to get your fingers to tie a knot, it helps to just undo another stitch.
So then what do you do with the ends? Do you cut that off? Or...
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you. And you only need to do one knot. I find that it works great. I would suggest leaving a little bit at the end just because if you cut it too short, then eventually it'll just fall out. And we don't want that to happen. But if it does, it's an easy fix, or you'll know how to make another. But no, they handle a lot. And I can even cut the ones at the front now, too. All right, perfecto. Hey, look at that. Do you want to try it on?
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Fingers crossed it fits, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh gosh. Okay. Let's see.
Oh, beautiful. Honestly, very good. High five.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure. Feel free to check out my other videos. And depending on whether you see this during the summer of 2019 or not, feel free to come to one of my live sessions where I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do it for yourselves in front of you. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Bye.
Your hair is up, down, side to side, jump to the left, stick it, glide.